Catherine Wheel of Fire by McCullough. From the Fireman Brian series. One day at the Pontypandy train station, Fireman Brian, firefighter Kelly Green, and Captain Williams were finished polishing the railway fire engine and it was clean. "There we are, sir," said Fireman Brian. "Clean as a whistle," said firefighter Kelly Green. "Oh yes, the railway fire engine does look splendid. Now, we better tuck her back in the shed, safely away from those fireworks," said Captain Williams. "Okay sir, we're on it," said firefighter Kelly Green. Fireman Brian and firefighter Kelly Green were rolling the railway fire engine back into its shed. "Can't be too careful on fireworks night," said Fireman Brian. "You certainly can't, Fireman Brian," said Captain Williams. Fireman Brian and firefighter Kelly Green got out of the railway fire engine shed. "Sleep well, old girl. Nighty-night," said Captain Williams. Captain Williams shut the railway fire engine's shed doors. Meanwhile, Fireman Brian, firefighter Kelly Green, and Captain Williams got back into the fire truck, shut the doors, buckled their seatbelts, and headed back to the Pontypandy fire station. Meanwhile at the Whole Fish Cafe, train driver Paul Gordon stops by, and comes inside the cafe and closes the door behind him. "Come for breakfast, Dad?" asks Peggy Pullman. "Oh, I have no time to eat, Peggy. I just stopped by to tell you that I'm arranging this year's Pontypandy fireworks display," said Paul. "Really? You're going to organize the fireworks display?" asks Peggy. "Oh yes, Peggy. I'm holding it tonight at the train station, so make sure you bring Gabby over early to get a good spot. It'll be the biggest fireworks display Pontypandy has ever seen," said Paul. Peggy put her head down and she was sad. "Got to go, so much to organize," said Paul. Paul Gordon walks out of the Whole Fish Cafe to go organize fireworks night. "Oh no," said Peggy, upset. "What's the matter, honey?" asks Todd. Peggy finds a scrapbook showing pictures of Peggy when she was little. "Well, when I was little, Dad used to organize a firework display every year for me and my cousin Liam," said Peggy. "Well, that must have been fun," said Todd. "It was a nightmare," said Peggy. Peggy turns the pages of the scrapbook. "Look, every year, he managed to set fire to something different," said Peggy. "Oh, that doesn't sound too promising," said Todd. "Do you think you can go over and keep an eye on him, Todd? Make sure Dad sets up everything properly," said Peggy. "Of course. Don't worry, Peggy. This year, nothing will catch fire," said Todd. Todd goes outside of the Whole Fish Cafe and closes the door behind him. Meanwhile, at the Pontypandy fire station, Fireman Brian was teaching Rose Johnson, Jacob James, Malcolm James, and Gabby Pullman fireworks safety. There was an easel showing a picture related to fireworks safety. "What's wrong with this picture?" asks Fireman Brian. Jacob raises his hand. "The fireworks aren't big enough," said Jacob. "No, that's not it, Jacob." "Anyone else?" asks Fireman Brian. Malcolm raises his hand. "The lid should be closed. Those fireworks could set off the whole box," said Malcolm. "Spot on, Malcolm," said Fireman Brian. Fireman Brian shows the kids another picture related to firework safety on the easel. "And what about this picture?" asks Fireman Brian. Rose raises her hand. "Those people are too close," said Rose. "And the Catherine wheel's not nailed on properly. It shouldn't be too loose or too tight," said Malcolm. "Top marks everyone," said Fireman Brian. Meanwhile, at the train station, Paul was busy setting up the fireworks night. "Nice of you to offer help, Todd. But I know what I'm doing," said Paul. Todd Pullman was holding a box of fireworks. "Shouldn't these fireworks be a little further apart, Paul?" asks Todd. "Oh no, they're fine," said Paul. Paul walks away and Todd puts the box of fireworks down on the grass. "And shouldn't we use proper rocket launchers?" asks Todd. "No need to fuss, Todd. These milk bottles will do a grand job," said Paul. 3 milk bottles were set up on the grass with fireworks inside of each of them. Paul accidentally knocks one over. "But if they fall over they won't," said Todd. Todd puts a second box down with rocket launchers inside of it. He puts one of the fireworks in the rocket launcher and puts it on the grass. Meanwhile, at the fire station, Fireman Brian gives the kids each a firework safety code pamphlet. "Great kids. Well done. Everything we talked about is in the firework code," So read it carefully, and have a safe night, said Fireman Brian. Thanks, said Rose, Gabby, and Malcolm. See you, said Jacob. Meanwhile, in the evening at the train station, Paul was holding a hammer and a Catherine wheel. Todd was testing the garden hose. Better check this is working, just in case, said Todd. Paul walks over to the railway fire engine's shed. Perfect place for a Catherine wheel, said Paul. Paul closes the railway fire engine's shed door. He hammers the Catherine wheel to the door of the railway fire engine's shed. The Catherine wheel was nailed tight. That won't come off in a hurry, said Paul. Paul walks back to Todd. We're all done here, Todd, said Paul. Todd turned on the garden hose, but the water was really cold. Todd got his clothes all wet. Oh, that's freezing, said Todd. Don't worry. You'll soon dry off, and a nice cup of coffee will warm you up. Come on, Todd, said Paul. Okay, Paul, said Todd. Paul and Todd walk off. It's nearly time for the big display, said Paul. That's what I'm afraid of. I mean, good, said Todd. The Catherine wheel was nailed on too tightly to the door of the railway fire engine's shed. Meanwhile at night, fireworks were set off in the night sky. Fireman Brian and his crew were watching the firework display from standing outside the fire station. Meanwhile at the train station, the fireworks display was over, and everyone enjoyed it. Everyone cheered for the fireworks display. Wow, they were the best rockets ever, said Jacob. What's next, Grandpa? Asks Gabby. How about some Roman candles? Asks Paul. The kids cheered. Malcolm read the firework code pamphlet carefully. Are they spaced far enough apart? Asks Malcolm. Yes, said Paul. And are you lighting them with a safety lighter? Asks Malcolm. Of course. Can I start now, Malcolm? Asks Paul. Yes, said Malcolm. Paul lights each of the Roman candles with the safety lighter. Now that's a big firework, said Jacob. Just wait till you see the grand finale, the Catherine wheel, said Paul. Oh, brilliant, I love Catherine wheels, said Jacob. Paul goes to the fire engine's shed to light the Catherine wheel. Wait, said Malcolm. Yes, Malcolm, asks Paul. Is the wheel pinned on securely? Asks Malcolm. Paul touches the Catherine wheel and it was pinned on securely. It certainly is, said Paul. Paul lights the Catherine wheel with the safety lighter. And is it loose enough to spin around? Asks Malcolm. I'm sure it'll be fine, said Paul. Sparks fly out of the Catherine wheel and a fire starts. Paul, it's not spinning, said Malcolm. What? No, said Paul. Paul runs away from the fire. And now, it's setting fire to the shed, said Malcolm. Oh no, said Paul. I think we better call Fireman Brian, said Malcolm. Oh dear. The railway fire engine is in that shed, said Paul. Meanwhile at the Pontypandy fire station, Captain Williams receives an emergency call from the map screen 700. The storage shed of the railway station is on fire, said the map screen 700. Captain Williams pushes the red button and the fire alarm bell rings. The storage shed of the railway station is on fire, said Captain Williams, over the PA system. Fireman Brian and firefighter Kelly Green slide down the pole, and put on their firefighting uniforms and helmets. Captain Williams was worried about his railway fire engine. Captain Williams quickly put on his helmet, and got into the fire truck with Fireman Brian and firefighter Kelly Green already inside. They shut the doors, buckled their seatbelts, and sped off to the emergency scene with the sirens on. Meanwhile at the train station, the railway fire engine's shed was completely on fire. I knew this would happen, said Peggy. I thought I checked everything, said Todd. It was the Catherine wheel, it's not supposed to be nailed on that tight. Page 7, paragraph 2, said Malcolm. When the firefighters got to the train station, Fireman Brian, firefighter Kelly Green, and Captain Williams got out of the fire truck and shut the doors. Captain Williams opened the fence door of the train station. Okay everyone, stand back, said Captain Williams. Captain Williams was looking at the burning railway fire engine's shed. He was worried sick about his railway fire engine. Fireman Brian ran a long red hose of water to the front of the railway fire engine's shed. Turn the water on, firefighter Kelly, said Fireman Brian. Firefighter Kelly Green turns on the water. Fireman Brian was putting the big fire out with water. Before long, the fire was out. Everyone cheered. But the railway fire engine, is she okay? Asks Captain Williams. Meanwhile, Fireman Brian, with his breathing apparatus on, was driving the railway fire engine out of its shed. The shed doors squeak open. The railway fire engine was still in perfect working order and it was fine. Still in perfect working order, sir, said Fireman Brian, through his breathing apparatus. Fireman Brian takes his breathing apparatus off. Fireman Brian got off the railway fire engine. Might need a bit of polishing tomorrow, said Captain Williams. Of course, sir, said Fireman Brian. And the shed doors are going to need a lick of paint, and, sorry I didn't listen to you about the Catherine wheel, Malcolm, said Paul. That's okay. Maybe next year, I'll help you set up things properly, said Malcolm. That'll be grand, said Paul. He didn't want my help, said Todd. That's all the fireworks, everyone, it's time to call it a night, said Fireman Brian. Not quite, Fireman Brian. I bought these on the way over, said Peggy. Peggy Pullman was holding some unlit sparklers. All the kids cheered. Sparklers, and big ones too, said Jacob. Meanwhile, everyone was holding lit sparklers in the air. Peggy Pullman was getting ready to take a photo of everyone playing with the sparklers. Everyone was wearing their gloves. All right, everyone, stand together and we'll have a photo, said Peggy. Paul was holding his lit sparkler incorrectly. Careful, you're supposed to hold sparklers at arm's length, said Malcolm. I knew that, said Paul. Peggy was holding her camera up at everyone and everyone was playing with the sparklers. Peggy took the picture. The camera clicks while taking the picture. The picture was taken. The end.